Hi, my name's Tracy Sippel and I'm a speech and language pathologist and teletherapist. And I have been thinking about the possibility of doing a video on some of the different platforms that are available out there for people who want to start a teletherapy business. I personally have been a speech and language pathologist since 1989, but only the last few years I've been doing teletherapy and I love it. I have had the opportunity to use a platform through a company that I work for, as well as other platforms that leave more to the imagination. Today I want to try to show you how you would set up a meeting or program to use the platform GoToMeeting as your teletherapy platform. Basically what you would need to do is to go onto your web browser, whether it's Google Chrome or Internet Explorer, doesn't really matter, and you're going to enter into the search bar GoToMeeting. I cannot tell you exactly what the cost is per month, but it seems that it was pretty affordable. Um, Definitely one you'd want to check into, and I've been very happy with the things I've been able to do with it while I'm working with students doing teletherapy. So they give you a free trial, which is great also. So while this is loading, basically what you'd want to do is enter in your email, obviously, and then choose a password. So let's see, I'm going to enter my old email, and I'll choose a password. Okay, and I'll start my 30-day trial. This platform, allows you to share videos with students while you're working with them. You can call up worksheets and have them interact with the worksheets. You can also have them interact with programs that you have loaded onto your computer. Programs like from companies such as Linguasystems, SuperDuper. I even use programs or games that are created on the web. I don't know if you're familiar with the website Kia, Quia. They have a lot of opportunities to do things with speech and language skills, and the students can interact with those as well. All right, let's see, returning users. Oh, I think it recognizes me. So, let me see. I might want to bypass this. Hold on just a second. All right, I'm not going to bother going ahead and signing in. What I would like to do though is just go to Home, and this should be fairly accessible to you as well. I'm not even signed in, so it gives you an idea. If you go over to the menu bar over here to the right hand side, you can go down the different features, and it gives you provides you with a webinar as to how to use GoToMeeting. Honestly, I don't recall even looking at some of these. I kind of just figured out on my own. I had a little bit of training perhaps. And down here, if you notice, it talks about plans and pricing, which answers the question that you were probably wondering. And this is where it gives you that information. So actually, if you only have 3 clients, you could use it for free. If you have up to 25, then it's $39 a month, which really isn't that bad compared to the cost of some of the other ones that require you to purchase their platform. So I'll get out of the menu, and I'd like to go back up to Home if it will let me, or get out of this. Let's see. Well, actually, let's do this. Basically, you are going to be the one that hosts the meeting, so you would want to click on this anyway. That's after you watch the training, you've set up your time with your client. They basically just need to have a webcam either built into their laptop or their computer, and a microphone that could be on headphones or an external mic as well, external speakers also, whatever works best. I find, especially with articulation skills, the headset with the built-in mic works well. Then you can really pay attention to those articulation sounds. So you'll come up to a meeting such as this, or a screen, excuse me, as this, and what you're going to want to do is, you don't even have to really pay attention to this part, because what you're going to do is go down and schedule a meeting. So they'll ask you, okay, subject, and this is going to be, let's say, speech. Oh, I still have it on cap locks, excuse me. Speech and language teletherapy for Bobby. And you can set it up when you would like to do it. Let's say Wednesdays, the 22nd at, definitely don't want it at 11 p.m. Let's do, go back to 11 a.m. All right, and we're going to go to 11:30. So, and if it doesn't give you 30-minute increments, you could type it in. So from 11 to 11:30, you can even enter the time zone. And if it's a recurring meeting, it'll do it for every Wednesday for you. Built-in audio conferencing. I don't think you have to worry about any of this. And then if you want to have a meeting password, you wouldn't have to. You would want to make sure that you send them the link for the GoToMeeting. Let's say I schedule that. Okay. All right. So we have that meeting set up. A meeting has been scheduled in your Outlook calendar. Enter the email address of those you want to attend and click send, which is beautiful. So provided you have your client's email address, you would enter that in. What they would need to do then is in this email, when their time comes to have a therapy session, they would click on the link and it would take them to it. So let me jump inside one of my meetings just to show you what are some of the things you can do. Let me get out of this first. Okay. And let's do, okay. I'm going to, let's say I'm going to meet now. And I'm just doing this to show you. Otherwise, I would schedule the meeting and go through like what the process I just showed you. So let's say I'm meeting with somebody right now.
You are the first caller and will be placed on hold until the next caller arrives.
This just lets you know that you're online. You still would have to click your camera and your screen to share your screen. And I'll do that with mine. So basically the child would see, if I click the camera, she or he would see you, and then also see your screen or your desktop. So you want to make sure when you work on any types of therapy techniques or skills, or you have any activities on your screen, that they're all appropriate. That's needless to say, but just wanted to let you know. Sometimes too, it'll mention that if your internet isn't doing so well, if it's having fluctuations or it's not strong enough, then it'll give you this kind of informational thing. And typically what you'd want to do then is probably check your internet speed, and I can probably do a YouTube on demonstration of that as well at some point. It's pretty easy. So let's say the parent's trying to get through and is unable to log into your meeting for whatever reason. There's a meeting number at the bottom of the screen. It says Meet Now, and that number is a number you can give to that parent. So when they try to get into the meeting, let's say they go to meeting and it says join the link, it can ask you, it might say what's the meeting ID number, and they can type that right in and it will help them access your screen and your platform that you're on, or your meeting room. So let's say, I'm working on something with a student that, let's say, works on figurative language. What I like to do is set up files on the side of the screen for each of my students and have the activities in there, so when I see them, everything's already arranged. So figurative language, I went around and found, I made some dubbed some videos of different types of shows or things that are on YouTube that are appropriate. Save those because I can show those to my students and they're able to hear them over their internet connection. Some of these you may recognize as Pixar shorties. They work wonderfully for kids for working on expressive language, working on figurative language, working on social skills, those types of things. And some of these are rather long. But just to give you an idea, I'll show you one I found on YouTube, online, and I dubbed it. I have a program that allows me to make this presentation for you, but also allows me to dub videos. So let's see.
Hey, hey! Bye-bye. Yo! Bye-bye. Huh? Bye-bye.
Okay, that just gives you an example of what I love that video. What you can do. Let me show you. So let's say I have a student that I'm working on. Let me think here. I want to use some worksheets I have. All right. What I did for these was I scanned worksheets into my computer and saved them on in a file on my desktop. I'm working with a student on similes. So what we did was um, he had to come up with a drawing that fit the description of an alien from the planet Simile based on the descriptions that were given on the left-hand side. And as you notice, as with a simile, you have the words like or as, and this uses as for this example. Now, what I like to do is actually, I'm going to open that up using the Paint program that I have on the computer. And you can right-click on it, and it should ask you, what do you want to open it with? And voila. Paint will allow you to interact with it easier. You can use these tools on the right-hand side, and I'll show you that as well. I do like Paint because it gives me a little more flexibility. And it depends too, if you don't want to have that flexibility factor with especially younger students, that's not always a bad thing. If you give them too many choices, they like to take advantage of that, which most of the time can end up wasting time. Oh my, it jumps around. Okay, just a matter of getting it to the right size. Ooh, I had this trouble today too. Let me just slide it up here. The one thing, if you have it in Paint, you need to have it the whole thing there at once, because if you shift, like if you use the bar on the right hand side to move the page up or down, you lose everything. I mean, the picture's still there, but it disorganizes everything. So basically, let's say the student, I asked him, okay, can you draw me a picture of his body as thin as a pencil? Now, in order for him to be able to do that, I have to go over to this bar, this control bar here. And we don't really need the recording and stuff there. Like I said, your camera should be on, your screen should be on, and the microphone's on. The tool that gives the student control or access to being able to interact with what you have on the screen is this cursor, this little arrow or caret. And you click on that, and it asks about giving control to the other person. It might list the child's name, it might list the school, and sometimes it'll say all. So let's say I give it to all. So it's my moving or my movement of the mouse has priority, so I can move it as well, but the child can also do things. And if I decided, okay, enough, we're not getting anything accomplished and the child's too distracted, you can click on it again over here and basically click on all again or the child's name, and it will remove that check mark, meaning that child no longer has any control. But let's say we want Johnny to draw a body as thin as a pencil. So I'd say, okay, you're giving him permission. Say, Johnny, okay, what you're going to have to do, or Bobby, I guess it was, excuse me, I would like you to take the pencil, okay, and you can pick the thickness of the line. Let's say I want to do a little thicker line. And I would like you to draw a body as thick or as thin, excuse me, as a pencil. So he's probably going to take that cursor. He has to hold the button down. And it looks more like a bone than a pencil, but you get the idea. And you go through the different activities on the worksheet. When it's done, let's say you're, oh, but I want to give him some yellow hair. Okay, well, let's see, this should work. Sometimes you have to change both of these boxes to the color for whatever reason. I'm not sure why. Okay, I can see it on my screen. I don't know if you can. Let me change it to red. There, it's a little easier to see. Okay, he has bushy red hair, if that would say it over on this page. Okay, so let's say the magnificent masterpiece is complete, and then Bobby wants you to save it. Don't get rid of it. Okay, and you might want to come back to it at some point. All you have to do, which is really sweet, is go over here like you would, and click on the caret, and you can save it. You can click save, but then you don't necessarily know where it's going to save it to. But I like to save it as a PNG picture. Click on that, and it should ask you what you want to name it. And I'd say Bobby's Simile Alien. And I would have a folder on the desktop for Bobby's activities, and I would save it in there. So let's say right now I'm just going to put it in, let's put it in documents for now. So I'm going to save it in there. There. Now if you wanted to open it again next time, you would just have to open it again with Paint to be able to interact it. Let me show you how to do it where you don't even have to use Paint. So let's see, I'm going to open this again, just the way it is, double clicking on it. And right now it's in one of my picture programs, Picasa, actually. So we'll see how this works. You should be able to, I don't know if you saw how I did that. There's a marker, like a highlighter at the bottom of this toolbar. Okay. And when you click on it, you can choose from a highlighter, a spot, like if you want to go over here and say, okay, what does this one say? It just helps call attention to it. If you wanted to do something with a pen again, if you wanted to draw the body as thin as a pencil, if you want to do a highlighter, you can give him, was there anything that says yellow? His skin is yellow as the sun, so you'd hold the button down and you can color. Okay, this is what's so neat about it. You have so much flexibility. You could do an arrow if you want to point to something, and it'll stay there. Like, well, now let's look at his head. Where are his eyes? He's missing some eyes. It said red eyes. Eyes as red as fire. Can you think of something else that's red? So let's say you have it all done. If you don't want to save it, you can do erase all drawings. It also gives you flexibility to change the colors of the pen or the pencil, the pen, I guess. And if you want to give them free rein, like to use the pencil, then you would click on that. Some of this you need to experiment with. I use Paint more often, but so let's say we're done with this, and you don't know how to get out of it. You're getting arrows all over, and it's like, okay, so how do I get back to that pointer? You can right-click your mouse, or not. I guess the easiest way would be go back to the drawing tools. Remember where that highlighter is? You click on that and you'd go back to where it says normal non-drawing mode, was that cursor or that arrow. And then it lets you be free. Okay, and then if you want to save it, I don't know if you can actually. You might have to just downsize it, or you could copy it and then paste it into a Word document, that type of thing. But there's a lot of different things you can do, and this is one of the reasons why you'd want to erase the drawing. It doesn't, that's right, it doesn't move with it. So like I said, it takes a little bit of experimentation to figure out what you want to do with it. All right, I'm trying to think what else you can do on here. That's the majority of what I use it for. A lot of videos, worksheets. It's a little more difficult, like if you had sequencing pictures, moving those things around, like using and again, you could try it and see how it works, but using the PowerPoint program. I tried that at one point because it lets you move pictures and move them around on a screen. The only thing being is it doesn't control it exactly the way you would like it to. Um, so what I've done is I'll scan like a, let's say there's a sequence of 4 pictures and you want your child or your student to put them in order. You can either, what I like to do is I'll scan them in and I'll crop them down to size so they're all on one page, but when I scan them in, I'll mix them up so they're not all in order. And then I'll just have the student write a number next to it or talk about, which one he thinks would come first by pointing to it with the red pointer or the highlighter spotlight thing. Okay, this would come first because and then this one would come second and da 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 da. The one drawback of not using Paint compared to just using the toolbar here, Paint allows you to type. I was going to show you that too. Let me see if I can do it quickly here. So the one other activity we did today was I had drawn an alien. Let me see, get this out of the way. You just click on that arrow, that orange arrow at the top, and it closes that big box and it just leaves you with the toolbar. We were talking about a haiku. I don't know if that's what I want to show you or not. I think it was more this activity here. Let's see. Okay, yep, where it has blanks. So what I did is I opened it, had it pop up, and I didn't do it the way I wanted to. Let's try that again. The worksheet's here, so I'm going to right click on it and it's going to ask me to open it with, and I'm going to open it with Paint. Alright, and it's really big again. Remember I talked about getting it to the size you want and how you want it on the screen. There. And I'm going to adjust it a little bit. There we go. So I already had a picture drawn in the box for the creature, for the alien. And it had a wide body, that type of thing. So what we did was, instead of him reading and then drawing what it told him to draw, I had already drawn it, or I drew it, and he just had to type in the description of it. Now, if I'm in Paint, I have to make sure that I have these tools closed. I don't use the highlighter, I just use the pointer, that black pointer, the normal non-drawing mode. And you can go up here, and in Paint, you just click on the A for the type, for the typing, okay? And it should give you a box. Now what I do is I set it up, and you can control the size of the box by clicking on those dots on those lines. Once you click out of this though, there's no fixing it. So if there's a spelling error or not enough room, it's not a big deal, and most kids do not have a problem with it, but just kind of so you have a heads up if you have somebody that you're working with on the spectrum and everything has to be just so. That might make it a little more difficult. But so let's say we're going to do this activity. I need to give the student control, and it actually the arrow's still on all, so that's good. It means he can do stuff too. So I'd say, okay, a body as blank as a blank. What do you think, Bobby? And I can make the box, which I usually do. It's easier, and then he just types in the word. A body as big as, and then I make another box here, as a whale. Okay, great. Then let's go down to this one. Then we go down here and he can say, oh, the head, and you can leave the whole box there if you just want to kind of type past the word. I think it's a little easier if you do it in a separate space by separate space, but it's up to you. So a head as, and this one, the one I had drawn was pointy. The head as pointy as an icicle. Okay, you get the idea. It gives you a lot of flexibility. So, and that'll stay there. Once you click out of that box, he's done typing, you click the box, you go down to the next line, and you put the next box. And as soon as I click out of that, it stays there. Now watch what happens if I move my paper. Oh, well, look at that. Usually the whole thing will shift with it, but it proved me wrong. That's great. It didn't move all over. Sometimes the words will stay in one spot and the paper will move. Never quite know what you're going to get. It makes it interesting. sometimes. Never usually too big of a deal. All right, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to show you on this. No, I don't want to save any changes on mine. And again, I have all my files set up on my desktop. Let me see if I can go back to that for you. Um, I don't show them here because I have the names of the students on the files, but it's basically I just create, right click on the screen, and then it'll say, what do you want to do, new, and I'd say, okay, a new file or a new folder, and then I would say Bobby's work. And when I design what I want to do with him, the activities I want to do, and prepare for those, I'll save them all in there so I can call them right up. It works really well. Really slick. Okay, and I'm going to delete that folder since I don't need it. There we go. All right. I happen to think that I didn't show you how to close out of this program. When you're done with GoToMeeting, what you have to do is go up into the right-hand corner of this menu or toolbox, I call it. There's a little X, and if you put your cursor on top of it, it will say quit. What you do is you click on that, and it'll ask you if you want to end the meeting for everyone, and you would click yes. If you only see this and you're trying to figure out how do you get out of that, what you do, I mentioned before as well, is you click on the orange arrow, and that'll open it up for you. And then you click on that little square box, or this square X, excuse me, in the upper right hand corner. And yes, you want to end it for everyone. And that's it for that.